Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into something that, honestly, could really transform how you interact with the internet every single day. We're talking about Perplexity's Comet Browser. My first impression reading the source material was just, wow. It feels like the moment your old telescope turns into a James Webb mirror overnight. That quote really stuck with
It's a
me.
powerful image, isn't it?
It is, and when it says it rewires how human attention flows, I think it's getting at something really profound. We're not just, passively consuming anymore. The browser itself is becoming an active agent, helping us think, helping us work online.
Exactly. It's shifting us from being active searchers to maybe more passive recipients of, already organized knowledge.
Yeah, that feels like the core shift.
And that's really our mission in this deep dive, right? To
Yep.
understand why Comet matters so much, we'll dig into how it works, what it actually feels like to use day to day,
Hmm.
and, the bigger implications for how we all use the web. We're drawing this all directly from the detailed source material we've got.
Okay, so we're talking transformation. But maybe we should back up a step. For listeners, it's worth asking. What was actually so broken with browsing now that we needed something this, well, radical?
That's a fair question.
The material makes it sound like the web itself just got too big, kind of ballooned.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, think about it. Chrome came along, dominated, made things fast, standardized things, which was great initially.
right.
But then, like you said, the web just exploded.
Hmm.
And suddenly, we're all drowning in tabs where context is scattered everywhere.
Oh, tell me about it. My browser is chaos by 3 p.m.
Exactly. And we end up doing these weird copy and paste hacks just to connect basic information together.
Yeah.
And the numbers back this up. There was that Gartner workflow study in 2025. Found the average knowledge worker juggles, get this, more than 20 browser tabs per hour.
20. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, my tab situation often looks like a disaster zone, so I kind of felt personally attacked by that stat. But seriously,
Hmm.
that's huge overhead. It's friction.
And friction isn't just annoying, right? It's actual time and money.
It's literally money leaking out of companies.
Yeah.
And honestly, leaking out of your personal time, your evenings too.
So this Perplexity Comet browser, the source positions it as the direct solution to all this, an agentic AI browser. Its goal is turning all that click labor into ambient automation.
Precisely. And that idea of ambient automation sounds almost like a dream, doesn't it?
It really does. But what does that actually look like?
Well, its core capability is pretty groundbreaking. It actually watches what you're reading, and it understands the DOM, the document object model.
Okay, the DOM, basically the blueprint of the web page.
Exactly. The underlying structure. So it doesn't just see text, it sees elements that can interact with buttons, fields, menus. And crucially, you can give it instructions in just plain natural language.
Right.
So imagine this. You've got, say, a 50-page PDF. You need a quick summary, like a 10-minute abstract.
Yeah.
Comet drafts it, seconds. Or you need to reply to a supplier email. Done. Just like that.
Yep.
And it's not just text stuff. You're looking at flights on Kayak. Comet can parse that page, understand the flight details, and then intelligently plant the departure and arrival times right into your Google Calendar.
No way.
Yes. And it even bakes in buffer time, like for the drive, security, get into the gate. That's a huge leap.
Okay, that is a leap. Now, digging to the tech side, one thing that really made me lean forward was learning Comet is built on a Chromium Core. That seems significant. Why that choice?
Yeah, that's a really astute point. Building on Chromium is clever. It gives it immediate familiarity, right?
So no big learning curve.
Exactly. And it avoids that whole plugin mess. Pages load like Chrome. Extensions should mostly work.
Hmm.
It feels natural right away.
Okay.
But, connecting this to the bigger picture, the real innovation is this lateral layer. Perplexity sketches on top. Think of it like
Yeah.
an AI cognition sandwich.
Sandwich. Okay, I'm listening.
So bottom layer.
Yeah.
Familiar Chromium Core. Renders pages, manages extensions. Standard stuff. Then right on top, the Perplexity AI engine. This is the brain. It reads the page context, understands what you're looking at, keeps track of your active tabs. So the assistant panel, it already knows what you're looking at without you even telling it.
Ah, okay. Context aware.
Super context aware.
Yeah.
Then above that is the action agent. This is where the automation magic happens. It clicks things, types things, submits forms, schedules meetings for you.
Do you just type a sentence?
You type one sentence, and bam, it can fill out a form or send a calendar invite.
Mm.
And then the top layer is the memory layer. This stores your conversation history, even private documents, but that's opt-in.
Opt-in, important.
Very important. And this means you can ask follow-up questions days later, and it remembers the context. It's this whole architecture that lets the browser understand, like, The beach vacation you planned yesterday actually matters for the flight you're booking today. It connects the dots.
That memory layer sounds powerful. Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. Or maybe the elephant called $200.
Ah, yes. The price tag.
Perplexity Max Access. $200 a month, the source notes that's higher than many full desktop suites. How do they justify that? Or what's the thinking there?
Yeah, it's definitely the first thing that makes people's eyes widen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fair reaction. Access right now at launch is tied directly to that Perplexity Max access plan.
So pay up or wait?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If you pay the fee, sign up as instant. Otherwise, you join a wait list, and they're trickling invites down to the Pro subscribers, the tier below Max.
Okay.
Now, Perplexity has quietly admitted or maybe hinted that this price is initial, which implies, it might soften later on. Maybe.
Interesting.
We'll see. As for getting it, it runs on macOS and Windows today. If you're a Linux fan, you can join a beta mailing list, but no actual install yet.
Gotcha. Okay, we've talked architecture price, but let's bring this back to the daily grind. What does a day in the life with Comet actually feel like? The source says it's like having a personal PA who never yawns. Let's walk through some real tasks.
Yeah, let's do it. The source gives some great, really specific examples. Take instant meeting wrangling.
Okay, something I do constantly.
Right. The old way.
Bruh.
Get an email, okay, open calendar in a new tab, hunt for a free slot, switch back, draft a reply, find and copy a meet link. It's tedious.
Yep, sounds familiar.
With Comet, you hit Shift-K on Mac, presumably similar on Windows, to pop open the assistant panel. Then you just type something like, find a time next week for a 30-minute call with Sam, add a tentative hold, draft a polite reply, include a meet link.
What happens?
The result. A calendar event just appears. The email is sitting drafted in your drafts folder. Total time, the source says 20 seconds.
Wow. Okay, that's like 5 minutes saved right there.
Easily. Or how about cross-platform contact hunting? Say you're reading a Twitter thread, you see someone interesting, and you wonder, do we have mutual LinkedIn connections?
Usually means opening LinkedIn, searching.
Exactly. With Comet, right there in the assistant panel, you just ask, list any mutual LinkedIn connections between me and this profile.
And it just knows.
It hops over to LinkedIn's API securely without exposing your login tokens, finds the connections, like maybe it says Robert Scoble, and lists them right there. Saves maybe 3 minutes of manual searching.
Okay, that's slick.
Then there's counterpoints without click churn. You're reading an article, maybe something controversial or complex. You want other perspectives, dissenting voices.
Right, normally that's like 5 more searches, opening a bunch of tabs.
Hitting paywalls.
Yeah.
With Comet, you just type counterpoints to this article, and it fetches relevant stuff, maybe union leader statements, legal critiques, even a summary from a Reddit AMA.
All in the side panel.
All in the panel. No extra tabs, no medium paywall headache, as the source puts it. It calls this compression of intellectual distance. Saves maybe 10 minutes of research hassle.
Compression of intellectual distance. I like that.
Me too. And one more. Travel planning that adores timelines. You've got Kayak open, you found your flights. You prompt the assistant. Add these flights to my calendar. Include drive time, long-term parking, 2-hour security window, plus travel back to the office.
Whoa, that's specific.
That's specific. And Comet apparently spawns 4 separate, correctly timed events in your Google Calendar, all aligned to the right local time zones. Saves maybe 8 minutes of fiddly calendar work.
Okay, you can really see how those minutes add up across a day or week. Multiply that by daily frequency. Yeah, you start to see why early adopters might grin through the sticker shock.
Exactly. The cumulative time savings become pretty compelling.
But is it just about saving minutes, or does removing all that friction actually change how you approach the task itself? Like, does it change how you think?
That's a fantastic point.
Yeah.
Because it's not just speed, it's flow, right? When you remove the constant mental context switching, tab juggling, copy pasting, your brain can stay focused on the actual problem you're trying to solve.
Right, deeper focus.
Allows for deeper focus, maybe more complex problem solving because you're not bogged down in the mechanics. It feels like a fundamental shift. And, speaking of how it feels, what stands out to you about the browser's personality? The source actually hints it has one.
It does. I love that idea. Software having a personality. What did they say?
Well, the assistant's prose is described as tight, jargon-free, but apparently with little flashes of dry humor.
Oh, like what?
Like it might confirm a calendar event by saying, I penciled you in, but feel free to move me. I'm only code.
Huh. Okay, that's kind of charming.
It is. But what's really key, I think, is its resistance to hallucination. That's a huge concern with AI, right?
Absolutely critical.
Comet attaches these little citation chips to basically every piece of web data it fetches. So you can immediately trace any surprising claim back to source material. That transparency is vital.
Okay, that's reassuring. And under the hood, how does it manage all this?
Well, it's pretty sophisticated. Perplexity is blending different large language models, OpenAI O3 Pro and Claude 4 Opus, apparently, and it routes tasks based on things like latency and how much context is needed.
Hmm.
But crucially, unlike just chatting with a generic AI, Comet interprets the DOM elements, the page structure, as structured objects. So buttons become verbs, fields become nouns in its understanding.
So it understands what things are on the page.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that mapping lets the agent click and type for you intelligently without relying on those old, brittle XPath scripts that break whenever a website changes its layout.
Right. Those were always so fragile.
Totally. The source uses a great analogy.
Mm.
It's the difference between copying a puppet show and teaching the puppet why curtains exist. Comet understands the why.
That citation chip feature, though, that directly tackles my biggest hesitation with AI, the hallucination fear. Which makes me wonder, okay, given all this sophistication, what are the real downsides? Because, not all glitter glows, right? What are the early rough edges people are finding?
Yeah, that's fair. And no software is perfect, especially at launch. There are definitely a few quirks mentioned.
Like what?
Okay, so occasionally, email drafts might address the wrong email alias if you have several. Annoying, but fixable. The assistant sometimes gets confused by blank tabs during its cleanup process, might think they're duplicates and close them, or leave a phantom tab behind, little things like that.
Okay.
And heavy summarization, especially on really huge PDFs, can sometimes just stall. You're left wondering if it's working or just gave up.
Okay. And the
Yeah.
price.
And yes, the price. We have to keep coming back to that. It's a significant factor.
But the source seems to frame these as like growing pains.
Exactly. They're described as software adolescence, not fatal flaws. Things you'd expect to get ironed out.
Right. So Comet isn't alone in this space, is it? There are other intelligent browsers emerging. How does it really stack up against competitors like Arc or Bing Copilot and Edge?
Good question. It's definitely not operating in a vacuum. And choosing between them, the source suggests, it's really about matching workflow quirks to design philosophy. It's not just about which is best overall.
Makes sense. So how do they compare?
Okay, let's bring it down based on the source material.
Yeah.
You've got Comet Browser from Perplexity. Chromium-based uses those high-end models like OpenAI O3 Pro, Claude 4 Opus, big strength.
Yeah.
Agentic actions, clicks, types, schedules, groups, tabs. High citation quality. The big catch, $200 a month. Best for researchers, analysts, maybe busy founders who really value that automation time saving.
Okay.
Then you have Arc AI, part of the Arc Search browser. Also Chromium-based, very design-focused, uses OpenAI's GPT-4 Turbo, mainly for summaries and AI answers within the browser. It's free, probably best for designers, Mac power users who like Arc's aesthetic.
Right.
Bing Copilot, baked into the Microsoft Edge.
Yeah.
Also Chromium, uses GPT-4 integrated with Bing Search, does summaries, citations, helps compose emails. Also free, great for mainstream users, maybe switching from regular search. There's also ChatGPT Agent, which is more of a web tool, works over any browser, uses GPT-4o. It can plan multi-step tasks, does some limited clicking. Memory is still in beta. It's free, but with token limits. Probably best for developers, early adopters experimenting.
Okay, one more.
And Bravelio, that's the AI in the Brave browser, another Chromium fork. Very privacy-focused. Uses Mixtral 8x7b models, does page summaries in a sidebar. Memory is only local. Citation quality is maybe lower. It's free. Best for people who prioritize privacy above all else, maybe need lighter AI assistance.
That's a helpful overview. So where does Comet really stand out in that field?
It's cognitive surface area, as the source calls it. Comet seems designed to handle a wider range of tasks within a single workflow. Gmail, calendar, e-commerce sites, research databases. It ties them together. That broad scope seems unmatched today.
But with the trade-offs we mentioned.
Exactly. The trade-off is that steep Perplexity Max access fee and the privacy diligence required. You have to be comfortable with that. For teams, the source suggests the decision comes down to, do you burn dozens of hours each month on tab juggling, inbox triage, repetitive form fills?
Right. Is the cost worth the time saved?
Precisely. If yes, Comet's agentic muscle may return that time with interest. If not, Arc or Bing Copilot will scratch the AI itch without denting the budget.
That makes sense. Now, we've covered the basics, the comparisons, but I'm curious how Comet holds up when you really push it, beyond the neat demos into, like, real deadlines territory. Can it handle really intense, complex tasks?
Yeah, and the source material suggests this is where it goes beyond just being a novelty. It gives a few examples of pushing it harder.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Okay, one example. Bulk research without blood pressure spikes. Imagine needing bios and recent talk themes for, say, 50 conference speakers.
Ugh, the old way is bouncing between LinkedIn tabs, company sites, scraping info.
Well, exactly. With Comet, the user apparently highlighted an email with the speaker list and just asked, map every speaker, pull their last 3 talks, extract likely themes, cluster them.
And it did that.
Apparently, yes. It generated a neatly formatted table with names, quotes from past talks, predicted angles, even suggested potential podcast guests from the list. It supposedly shrank an afternoon into 10 calm minutes.
Okay, that's genuinely impressive if it works reliably.
Right. Another one, a camera shootout across 3 retail sites, comparing detailed specs for mirrorless cameras across B&H, Adorama, Amazon.
5 tabs minimum, lots of scrolling, spec sheet PDFs.
Yep, and 2 cups of coffee. With Comet, the prompt was something like, compare these camera bodies for bitrate, clean HDMI output, and live stream reliability. Output a markdown table.
Yep.
It pulled the spec sheets, verified firmware details, recommended a specific model, Panasonic GH5 in the example, and even warned about potential gray market stock issues on one site.
Oh.
All done in one panel and no caffeine.
Uh-huh.
And the last one is relatable for many of us, tab herding for wild researchers. You know, after a research sprint, you have 15 recipe tabs, Slack threads, blank searches, just chaos.
My life.
Just tell Comet, group news tabs and daily briefing, recipes in food, close duplicates, and boom. It cleaned the tab bar in seconds. Apparently even caught ghost tabs. Chrome had failed to purge properly. The description was like someone folding your laundry while you power an app.
I need that. Okay, that really paints a picture. But it makes you wonder, technically, how does it know? How does it know when to just summarize versus when to actually click a button or fill a field? Is it just guessing?
It's definitely not guessing. It's smarter than simple macros. The way the source explains it, Perplexity parses the page structure of that DOM, again, into a sort of graph of interactive elements and semantic regions.
A graph. Okay.
Yeah, and each node in that graph carries role metadata. It knows what each thing is for. So when you ask it to add these flights, the agent identifies the specific elements it needs, date fields, time pickers, purchase buttons.
Ah, it recognizes them by their function.
Exactly. Then it executes these skeleton actions, like filling the fields and clicking submit, but in a sandbox session for security. It's described as real-time planning, not just replaying a recording. That's why it can adapt if Kayak, for example, changes its website layout slightly.
That makes sense why it's more robust than old screen scrapers. And the memory layer, how does that work securely?
Good question. It apparently uses a local vector store, basically a smart database on your own computer tied to your unique access token. So your context, your history, it lives on your machine by default unless you actively toggle on Cloud Sync.
Okay, local first is good. But that brings us back to the unavoidable trade-off. Convenience versus privacy, because nothing in tech is free, right? And Comet's price isn't just the dollars.
Absolutely. This is the critical conversation to have. Granting a browser this much access requires careful thought.
So what are the key trade-offs the source highlights?
Okay, it breaks them down pretty clearly. First, calendar and Gmail access. The benefit, obvious. Instant scheduling, smart searching across your inbox history.
The risk.
Exposure of sensitive events or emails if something goes wrong or gets compromised. The mitigation they offer is local token storage, so your main password isn't stored, and granular opt-in scopes. You choose what it can access.
Right.
What else?
Actor.
Tab context. The benefit is seamless follow-up questions. It knows what you were just looking at. The risk. It has a full view of your reading habits, which could be sensitive.
And the mitigation?
There's a toggle for private mode, presumably like incognito, which stops it from recording or using that tab's context.
Okay. And file uploads.
File uploads. Benefit. Quick, inline PDF summarization, which is super handy. Risk. If you have Cloud Sync turned on, those proprietary documents could potentially leave your device.
Ah.
So the mitigation is simple. Keep Cloud Sync off for highly confidential NDA-type files. The source gives a simple rule of thumb. If a workflow moves critical IP, flip the privacy switch before you ask an agent to read it.
Okay, that's practical advice. Be mindful. Now, shifting gears slightly, what does all this mean for website owners, publishers, SEO folks? Is Comet and browsers like it going to kill website traffic with zero-click answers?
That's definitely the big fear floating around. Will AI summarization mean users just get the answer in the browser and never actually visit the source website?
Yeah.
But the counter-argument, based on the source, is that Comet cites aggressively. It shows its work. And those source links are always one click away.
Mm.
And interestingly, some positive early analytics were mentioned from a niche tech blog. They found that while bounce rates might drop slightly, the engaged time for visitors arriving from Comet actually doubles.
Oh, interesting. Why?
The theory is that readers who click through from a Comet summary
Mm-hmm.
already trust the citation, they know the content is relevant, so they stick around and read longer.
So maybe higher quality traffic, even if slightly less volume initially.
Potentially, yeah. But the source also warns that ad-heavy sites designed for slideshow pagination will suffer.
Ah, because the AI cuts through the fluff.
Exactly. AI summarization punishes fluff by design. So the advice isn't to try and block the AI crawler, but rather to write something worth reading past the excerpt. It might push the web towards higher quality content overall.
An interesting side effect. Okay, so wrapping things up a bit, what's next for Comet? What's on the roadmap? Any rumors or teased features?
Yeah, they've teased 3 big upcoming perks. First, a proper native mobile build. The idea is it syncs with your desktop memory layer. Turn your phone into a true pocket agent.
Okay, that could be huge.
Definitely. Second, something called Comet Labs. Sounds like a playground or SDK for developers to write their own custom skill modules for the agent, add new capabilities.
Ah, extensibilities. Smart.
And third, team workspaces. This would allow research groups or small teams to share context, maybe share documents, and assign tasks to a shared assistant.
Moving towards collaboration.
Exactly. And the source speculates these moves could shift Comet from personal tool to enterprise platform. And you could bet Microsoft will watch closely as Edge turns into its own agentic AI browser. The competition is definitely heating up.
It really feels like a paradigm shift. You know, Chrome taught the world to expect speed from a browser. Comet seems to be teaching it to expect cognition.
That's a great way to put it. And the examples show it, right? In just 1 week, according to the source, it booked meetings, planned travel, corralled tabs, found counterarguments, drafted emails. The productivity gain was described as feeling like the transition from horse to locomotive.
High praise. And yes, we have to acknowledge the downsides again. The Perplexity Max access price, it really does rival rent in some cities. And yes, privacy requires constant vigilance. You can't just set it and forget it.
True. Yet, for certain users, researchers, journalists, analysts, maybe solo founders, juggling a million things, the value proposition seems unmistakable. That single-line review really captured it. It is the first consumer software that feels as if you hired a junior analyst who never takes lunch.
Huh.
I like that.
And apparently, once you get used to it, going back to passive tabs feels clunky, like typing on glass with mittens.
So Chrome isn't going away tomorrow, obviously, but it feels like a comet has entered its orbit bright, fast, and carrying ideas that, well, they can't be unseen now, can they?
Exactly. And maybe the provocative thought to leave listeners with is this. The next decade of browsing probably won't be measured in how many tags you opened, but in how many tasks you completed. Comet Browser feels like the first serious leap towards measuring that, and it lands with, honestly, surprising grace. Whether you jump in today, pay the price, or wait for broader access, definitely keep your telescope handy, the sky over your screen. It really has changed.